Korra Alone from The Legend of Korra, I think might be the episode that we all need right now. So if you're one of those people that are just hopping onto the Avatar hype train thanks to Netflix, Korra is coming out this week, so you have a chance to experience the series for the first time. I am very jealous. I wish I could wipe my brain and then try it all over again. Somebody get me like a D-mail, memory, mind wiping machine thing. Korra Alone was Korra at its absolute peak, the episode specifically. Honestly, the series does not even start until this episode. Everything before it is pretty much almost completely unnecessary. I say this as someone whose channel was basically created because of Korra. Why couldn't we get more of this? Video finished, that's it. Back when I interviewed Janet Varney, voice of Korra, I got pretty excited to learn that Korra Alone was her favorite episode as well.
What was your favorite episode of the entire series?
Oh gosh, boy, that is really hard. I mean, I don't know if I have a complete answer to that, but I'm also very, very deeply influenced by Mike and Brian because I respect them so much, I know Korra Alone was a really, really, really important episode for them, and it was a really important episode for me. It was really, I think for me, one of the episodes that connected with people the most, and it connected with me personally too. It's really the ultimate kind of lowest point, and how many of us have been in that position where, whether it's literal or metaphorical, we really feel like we do not have what it takes to make that next step.
Yeah. I was about to say the same episode, basically. Yeah.
You were? Okay,
yeah,
good.
I was waiting for it. I was like, it has to be Korra Alone. I had to predict it, yeah.
I'm serious. Just start here if you plan on watching this as it releases on Netflix this week. Because honestly, this will give you the incentive to make it up to this point in the show, once you see where the character goes. You have to think about the show and its overall scope to really understand why this works so well, so there will be spoilers in this video. Now, when the show starts, Korra is a headstrong young teenager whose actions and motivations aren't necessarily fleshed out to the best of the writer's ability until later in the series. This often leads to a disconnect, and viewers are often left to question why Korra behaves the way she does. You see, up until this point, it's fairly hard to relate to and understand the troubles that Korra goes through. She's an avatar. She is the master of all four elements. She's the spiritual leader of the world, supposedly, right? All this is on her shoulders. Effectively, we don't really get a chance to really relate to that. So her actions throughout the series just kind of seem to come out of left field a lot of times. She throws a tantrum with her parents. She decides to suddenly rage out of nowhere. After the events of the previous season finale where Korra is in short traumatized, her anger and her personality issues have only been exacerbated. But in turn, we're given a chance to explain why she's always acted this way. It turns out the only real person who she's ever really struggled with is herself. From the very get-go, she's seen as this avatar prodigy, and much of the things in her life are simply given to her. They're not particularly earned. This is the equivalent in a character of you telling a person that they're smart and they build their entire identity around it. She's been told since she was very young, and she discovered that she was the avatar at an early age, that this is what she's going to be. And that self-conception of her is completely destroyed in this episode. She doesn't earn anything too in these early seasons. Avatar state, she just gets it. Spiritbending. Aang took 3 seasons. She just gets it. Okay. But this isn't necessarily a bad thing. She is older than Aang, to the writer's credit. And to be fair, different avatars mature at different paces. But this is why this episode in particular is so satisfying on so many levels. You take away all of that, and you leave a character who's broken beyond relief, who feels that she has lost all self-worth and value in herself, and she begins to reflect on everything that has happened up until this point. Was everything I was just a product of what I was given, not what I've earned? Korra loses the use of her legs and her fighting prowess and physical strength, what she came to define herself by, and this causes her to lose her sense of self. When Tenzin, her airbending master, comes to see her, she tries to demonstrate how well she can fight again, as if this is what defines her, but she's not in the shape that she used to be, and it shows. It's why she later chooses to cope by fighting in the ring, full Hugh Jackman Wolverine style. But her problems don't simply start and end there. Just watch as Boomer Guitarra tells Korra about Aang's struggle. Now, while Katara means well, the viewer is left to actually question whether finding meaning in suffering is worth anything. While Aang's struggle was always incredibly insurmountable and painful, it's not the same as Korra's. Korra makes a hard decision to try to figure out these problems herself because Katara just doesn't have the answers. Very often, we're told that we haven't been through the same level of struggle that our parents and prior generations have been through, and while that may be true to some extent, we face our own set of problems. Our fight is a much different battle that maybe the prior generation just doesn't understand. Aang fought in his world's equivalent of World War II. 70 years later, Korra fights a more modern problem, which is internal strife both within her city and within herself. The world is far more complicated in her time than it was for Aang's. Her psychological battle is as valid as Aang's as it is anyone's. I think largely the battle for her has always been internal, and that has always stuck out to me, but up until this episode, that paradigm is never challenged and the other characters never can effectively help her correct the self-conception that she has of herself. We're not really even given the chance to sit down and reflect on why she is the way she is. She can't access this power that she's supposed to, so it haunts her. Just like how many young people can't fulfill the lives that their parents may have been able to give them and the expectations that have been set up on them. Finally, after 4 seasons, we get a Korra who reflects many adolescent viewers. A person who was so caught up in what she was trying to be and what people wanted her to be that she could never slow down and think what she wanted for herself and realize that that was probably her most important journey. For the number of complaints you hear about the series, this is the one episode I implore you give a chance. Oh, and absolutely, Janet, you killed it in this episode. That is an amazing performance. So if anything, just watch it to listen to her voice. If Korra teaches its viewers anything, it's that sometimes we can't live up to whatever it is that people want us to be. We have to find a path for ourselves. As you tread this new world that we find ourselves in, ask yourself, are you walking the path for you? Or are you still in search of you? Thanks for watching. Appreciate the time that you guys have taken to watch today at KinyobiCon. Thanks for coming by. Be sure to go check out my YouTube channel, Cinepresto. I have an Instagram, Twitter, as well as Twitch that I'm hoping to develop as well. I also want to give a big shout out to Janet Varney herself at the JV Club on Twitter, and she has her podcast available on all platforms. I've included the links below if this is the YouTube video that you're watching, but I'm putting them up on the screen right now. Please give her some love, because really I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't have that first interview with her. And I've gotten a chance to go interact and visit her over the many years here at performances. She's been nothing but the kindest person. So please go ahead and check her stuff out. Thank you guys. I hope you guys enjoy the next video in our YouTube showcase. Thanks for watching.